My name is Hamid Ibarra Dominguez, and I'm going to talk about the transition to an unipolar world. First, we're going to talk about some important events that occurred in this transition. First, we're going to talk about the creation of the World Wide Web in 1989. It was created by an English scientist named Tim Berners, and he wrote the first web browser in 1990. This browser was used in the CERN, that is a physics lab that is located in Switzerland, and this browser was used principally for institutional research. This was important because it's considered as the beginning of the internet domains. Then we have the creation of Google. It was created in 1998 by Larry Page and Sergey Brin, but it started to have an accelerated growth in 2001. It became the first and most important browser in the world, and Google bought YouTube in 2006. Then we have the terrorist attack to the World Trade Center. It occurred on September 11 of 2001. It was caused by militants of the group Al-Qaeda. These militants hacked 4 airplanes. 2 of them were flown towards the Twin Towers. The third plane crashed against the Pentagon, and the last one crashed in a field. Almost 3,000 people were killed that day, and as a result, the government created a lot of initiatives in order to combat terrorism. Then we have the creation of the iPhone. The first iPhone was presented by Steve Jobs on January of 2007. It had a touch screen and a virtual keyboard. It was the first phone with these characteristics. Before that, the tendency was to make little phones, and it represented a revolution on the technological sector. It influenced other brands of technological products, and it gave the model for the actual phones. It impulsed the cell phone market. Then we have the financial crisis of September of 15 of 2008. This event started after the terrorist attack of the 9/11. After this, many investors started to stop investing, so the Federal Reserve started to decrease the interest rate of the banks. So many people started to get a lot of credits that they couldn't pay, and it derived on a big inflation that caused the interest to increase and that led to many debts. It started with a financial crisis in the US, but it spread out all over the world. As a result, many people and many banks got broken. Now we're going to define some important concepts that we have to understand. First, we have the globalization. It describes how the trade of technology and different type of products has connected the world by exchange of culture and media content, taking into account the social and economical effects of this. Then, terrorism. It is described as a systematic use of violence with the purpose of creating fear in the population. This in order to get a particular political objective. Then we have the unipolar world. It refers to the scenario where just one country has a major influence in the world. It refers to a unique power, and that country affects the world economic and social and cultural aspects. The digital era is a historical period characterized by the existence of technology, but this technology is principally used as a medium of communication and has been adapted to do many types of works. We can relate all those concepts with the last events, with, for example, globalization that has been the cause of many of these things, since many of the products are exported to other countries, and also it has been one of the main causes of the terrorism. Also, the terrorism can be seen as an example of the 9/11. And this has been also a result of the unipolar world, since most of the power of the world has been concentrated in just one country. Also, we can see and relate this with the last events, since many of the enterprises that were created are from the United States. And finally, the digital era. We can relate this because, as we have seen, many of these events involve technology, and this technology has had a big advance during this period of time. Now the questions. First, why did the globalization emerge? Well, I think that the globalization has been a result of the capitalism, since it has permitted the creation of different enterprises that have traded with many countries. Also, it has been a result of the creation of the social media, since it has permitted the communication between far places, sharing cultural aspects. Then, in most cases, what caused the terrorist attacks of the 20th century? Well, I will say that one of the main reasons for the terrorism is the globalization. This because as the country gets power, it also gains people in favor and against the way of doing politics. And also the unipolar world generates that in a way of manifestation, the people attack the cities of the most powerful country in order to say or give a message. Now, how does the end of the Cold War relate with the unipolar world? Well, it is related because after the end of the Cold War, Russia lost the title of a power country and as a result of the separation of the USSR, among other things and factors. That led to a unique power to influence the world, and that power was the US. And finally, how has the digital era influenced today's society? Well, I think that the digital era has influenced in a big way our society, because since the first computers were created, the technological advances have been more and have happened more frequently. And as a result, we now are more connected. The ways of communication, learning, and doing many things have changed dramatically due to the technology. And that's all. Thank you.